Or a lot of these fucking drama Slop-Tubers, they will only talk about free speech when it's like video game titties getting smaller, or when it's like not being able to say a slur on a fucking social media platform. Yeah, so this is a bit personal news, but also simultaneously not so personal news because it like dovetails into conversations that I've had already. Last night I watched Noah Samson's latest video. His latest video was titled, I forget what it was. I think it was the YouTubers who backed the genocide. And I posted about it on my Instagram and I said, hey, this is a really good video. You guys should watch it, because I think it is a really good video. It's a really informative video. It's not just like drama. I know that people will look at it and go, oh, that's just a drama video. It's not. It actually carefully details all of the ways in which Israel has facilitated this genocide in Gaza. And not only does it feature all of that, but it also then shows the many ways in which a lot of like centrist Slop-Tubers who have a lot of prominence, especially as a collective, like who have a lot of range amongst a broad audience of relatively apolitical people who aren't really paying close attention to stuff. You know, basically those guys, I think those guys taking a position, taking this like nihilistic centrist position on Israel by never really talking about Israel directly, or never really talking about like the genocide and the things that have taken place, but instead covering it from the angle of like drama and what content creators are saying, and how the content creators that are on the pro-Palestinian side being bad, like that, I think plays a very sinister and cynical role in also doing propaganda. And I think people need to understand that. So it goes beyond drama. It's just like, if you just simply cast it aside as drama, you miss the forest for the trees. It's important for people to recognize exactly what was going on there. I had covered this before. I covered Mudahar's like statements about this before. I didn't even know he had made one. Most of the time, a lot of content creators who are in like the tech space or in like random spaces, like they don't necessarily come out and make like big, bold, declarative statements about their politics or ongoing issues. But I think one of the ways in which like Keemstar adjacent drama slop YouTubers engage in this issue is by taking an even more sinister approach, where they have no interest in understanding the actual impact, the actual issue, and instead they have all the interest in farming it and basically saying what their position is without actually saying what their position is. And I think that that is what a lot of these guys did. Some of them obviously openly and actively said they were pro-genocide, like Destiny. Other Destiny dick riders also played along with that. And then there's like, you know, someone like Mudahar who did the lightest version of this. Basically, the only impact that he had was to say, I'm apolitical, both sides are kind of crazy, but the pro-Palestinian side in America, they're so bad. You know, there is no middle ground when it comes to genocide, obviously, as you guys know. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because it ties perfectly back to all of the deplatforming efforts that are taking place right now online against people who have criticized Israel. And you're basically joining in on that pile-on when your only output in terms of talking about this genocide is to simply say the pro-Palestinian guys are actually really bad. He had this to say this morning: I get watching other people's videos is all you're really good at, but try vetting out slander before promoting Hasan. I have never defended or backed the Israeli genocide on innocent Gazans. Never will I ever. To which I responded with, in your only vid on Gaza, you admit to not knowing about politics. You try to cover Israel-Palestine as drama slop for centrist audience. You defend Asmongold for inferior culture / genocide comment, then attack pro-Palestinian voices. So I guess you just wanted the ad revenue then. I then followed it up by saying, Muda is a particularly insane case because he's a victim of the same right-wing mobs he often farms in his videos. He literally left Twitter because of the vicious racism. And here he is back again, only to farm more. You went on Hodge, they hate you more than they hate me, which is true. He literally had to leave Twitter, and it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs when a brown Muslim content creator has to leave a social media platform because people are so vicious and so relentlessly attacking him, not on the virtues of his thoughts or his ideas or his opinions either, just simply because he's Indian. Okay? It's completely unacceptable. It's disgusting. I've talked about it quite extensively. Now, having said that, part of the reason why he came back was to unironically, play the role of one of the good ones. That's what's so crazy about it. Like he will act like he will say, I don't have a political opinion, but then also turn around and demonstrate a political opinion that, of course, is trying to position himself as like a centrist person. Okay? As a centrist person, angling it from the perspective of drama. To which he also responded, by the way, in your video on Gaza. He said, yes, I do admit to not being an expert on the topic. Didn't cover it as drama since it isn't one. Serious situation with dead people and attacks happening every day. I just don't downplay rapes and sugarcoat violent organizations like you. Also didn't defend Asman in vid. Now, what's interesting about that response is it basically demonstrates the exact thing that I'm talking about. It also is a lie. He did cover it as simply drama. Because I responded back to him saying, I didn't cover it as drama with this tweet, okay? Yeah, I don't do this, and then ends up doing it. I responded with, we were a year into a genocide here. This was your only video on the topic. It downplayed and ran defense for Asman's takes, while the bulk of your commentary revolved around how evil the pro-Palestinian streamers were from clips you compiled off snark subreddits. 990,000 views, though. And then I said, just going to leave this here again. For 16 months, there's been a genocide going on in Gaza. Israel has the same ambitions for the West Bank, which has been under apartheid occupational rule since 67. If your advocacy is slandering and deplatforming pro-Palestinian voices, just admit you love Israel and its genocide. We know, right? Yes, I gave it a self-like this morning. Suck my dick. I was retweeting it. So my point here is that these guys, I think, thought that they can get away with doing this shit. And for much of the time frame in my coverage on Israel Palestine, I haven't really hyper focused on like a bunch of these drama Slop-Tubers. I think Bad Empanada has done a decent job. Bad Empanada has done a decent job of like going after some of these guys, at least like by breaking down the lack of arguments that they're posting on their videos, right? Because normally you would think like, okay, these guys don't have any sort of serious interest or whatever. Why are you talking about them? They're silly. They're completely. They're irrelevant, right? Like real things are happening in the world, and these guys are relevant. They're not. Because as a collective, they have the capacity to basically inform a lot of uninformed people. And what are they using? What are they doing with the influence that they have? They're deluding people into thinking suspiciously that all of the pro-Palestinian people, all the pro-Palestinian advocates are just like scary racist monsters or whatever. They're scary racist monsters that are undermining rapes. Like that right there. Didn't cover it as drama since it isn't one. I just don't downplay rapes and sugarcoat violent organizations like you. That right there is a political statement. And it is one devoid of any information whatsoever. And yes, in terms of Mudahar, he's an interesting person because I used to talk to him all the time. I used to get help from him on like Steam Deck related stuff. And then he started orbiting Destiny around the same time that Destiny was like becoming super pro Israel. And he noticeably was quiet on this issue. You know, he had more tweets about this. Not sure what he meant by your kind, though. Maybe you know. Yeah, like you are not pro free speech. You're not an honest person. And all you care about either in this situation, all you care about is either making money, okay? All you care about is either making money and farming this as like angling this in the least contentious way possible and make money off the backs of people dying, babies getting murdered every single day by Israel. It's either something that you're not genuinely interested in, or B, it's worse, you actually do like Israel, but you're too ashamed to admit it. And I don't think he likes Israel and he's too ashamed to admit it. I think he's just like not very knowledgeable and you know, wanted to make a statement about it, but take a very centrist position. And because he can't say something directly about Israel or Gaza, because then everyone's going to eat his ass alive, all he does is go after people who do demonstrate the courage to talk about these issues. Meanwhile, all he does is basically farm clout and money off of it. Yeah, it's almost as if the bulk of the commentary matched what the video was titled/centered about. Twitch allowing violent and unfiltered rhetoric from your camp on its platform. The clips were actually sourced from the creators who streamed them. No, they weren't. You took clips that were directly out of context from Destiny's subreddit. That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. It's okay. You don't have to admit it, but we know that that's what a lot of Slop-Tubers do. It's not just Destiny's subreddit either. They literally, most people that make these kinds of like drama-centered videos unironically just source it off of Reddit. That's it. They literally go off of Reddit comments. That's the game out here. That is the level of research that most people dedicate to T channels and drama channels in general. But yeah, it's notice how there is no statement here. Okay, notice how there is no like evidence here. The evidence is Twitch is allowing violent and unfiltered rhetoric, or you're downplaying rapes. Like, did this person read the UN report? Did he even watch like the Sheryl Sandberg atrocity propaganda flick and then develop his opinion on this issue? Did he read any Israeli newspapers or American newspapers on the matter? And that's how he came up with this idea that like mass rapes had taken place, because he read the New York Times screams without words propaganda piece that was immediately undermined, by the way. Like, did he do any of that? Is that why he has this position? No, he has no position. He's just repeating something he saw on Reddit. That's my point. And that's what's really frustrating about this issue, is that these guys try to maintain this like nihilistic centrist perspective, but they constantly attack one side while also lightly criticizing the other side. Here, look at this situation. Asmongold quite literally said Palestinians are inferior culture and genocide is appropriate.
Everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
Ooh, god damn. Bro, what the holy shit. Dude, he went in. I don't know where the full clip is. I guess it's so what the is the who did he say? Did he say the Palestinians were inferior cultures or something? I mean, like, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody should sit there and be like, oh, I guess the whole group of people deserve to be genocided. Like, at the end of the day, that doesn't make you any better.
Damn, thanks, man. That's a good take, right? That's a good take. He's obviously being very critical of Asmongold here. This is the problem that I have with so many centrists, okay? They will always defend free speech on the principles when it comes to like some of the most insane right-wing shit you've ever heard, okay? Nazis protesting on college campuses. Not saying Mudahar is doing this. I'm just broadly saying a lot of centrists, a lot of fence sitters, whether it be people like Tim Pool who presented themselves as such, or a lot of these drama Slop-Tubers, they will only talk about free speech when it's like video game titties getting smaller, or when it's like not being able to say a slur on a social media platform. That's the only thing that is like the defense of free speech. When there is an actual issue of the highest political severity, a genocide that is ongoing, and there are active deplatforming initiatives, they will literally stand right there and advocate for that deplatforming to take place. They will then never turn around and do commentary on a severe violation of the First Amendment, like with the Mahmoud Khalil situation, where the American government decided and openly stated that they have no evidence that this person had violated the law at all, that they had actually black bagged them from his house with the goddamn Gestapo from Columbia University and shipped them to Louisiana overnight with the purpose of revoking his green card and deporting him, only because he engaged in a protest that they did not like. He didn't violate any rules. He didn't violate any laws. He was the lead negotiator with Columbia University. Think about that, man. Like, I'm done with this shit. If these guys had any sort of honesty any sort of integrity, any sort of genuine care for freedom of speech, for example, freedom of expression, they would probably spend a good deal of their time criticizing the Trump administration.